Well, the CV, I haven't checked it with you. You won 5 of those titles for Celtic. You've won it 11 out of 12 seasons. You won in 2011-12, 2012-13, 2013-14. Then it was Ronnie Dyla 2 in a row, Brendan Rodgers the next 2 years. And then when you took over, what was that like the day you took it? Was it the Hearts game?
It was really tough.
Cup game, yeah. So Brendan Rodgers just disappeared.
Yeah, so there's a lot of acrimony and, you know, a lot of upset. And I think it was about 8-10 games to go in the season. And, you know, you're coming into a team that had won everything. So you didn't want to change anything and just try and keep it rolling as best you could. Obviously, you want to put your own stamp on it, but at that time you couldn't do that, like, you know, because you always worry that it could go wrong, and you just try to keep it rolling over the line. And to get the treble against Hearts, that was probably the most nerve-wracking game of my life, really. Like, you know,
was it? Yeah,
there was just so much riding on it, and in the end, they got over the line, and it's just relief more than anything else, rather than sort of jubilation.
Then when Brendan left, then you took over. You won the cup as well. It was the treble, as you mentioned. You won 9 in a row in 2019, 2020. And then that COVID season, I heard you on Go Radio News today talking about it. You said Celtic could have been 13 in a row. Barry, come back in a minute. But do you really believe that? I mean, the COVID year was just, we've never known anything like it.
Yeah, it just changed everything for us as a club and for the players. You know, there was no sort of money out there because there's no expenditure coming into the clubs, and the plan was to move some players on, and you couldn't do it because nobody had any money. And then you had an unsettled squad. You know, you're trying to bring players in, but you couldn't get out to watch them live, so you're doing it off a video screen. And then we had a lot of problems with people going down with COVID and protocols being broken. That so yeah, it was a really surreal sort of time and totally abnormal.
Barry, for Rangers, what do you think? They were getting better, obviously, Stephen Gerrard's year 3, but it finished badly for him just before COVID, but they came back completely rejuvenated.
Yeah, and listen, there's a lot made where listen, at me as a player, I'm sure Lennon would say the same thing. I like playing under pressure. I like playing in front of 50,000, and obviously at Celtic Park it's 60,000. Maybe that helped Rangers, but listen, COVID was a difficult period for all football clubs. There's no doubt about it. It never helped. So, yep, listen, you're just going through all the trophies. I was cursing Lenny when he was winning the trophies as the Celtic manager. But that's what I said. Look, if any clubs are out there and think about it, he's won trophies in a pressurised situation. Because you go in there and the spotlight's on you.
Sure.
The demands and the expectations at both Rangers and Celtic is absolute huge, and people don't understand the situation you're in at times.
I was quite fortunate though, because like I'd finished my career and then gone into coaching under Gordon, and then coached the reserves under Tony Mowbray, so I knew the club inside out. So I got the interim job and then eventually got the job the first time, so there was sort of like a good sort of progression and understanding of the club, and the expectations had been part of it for the last sort of 14-15 years. So in that aspect I knew what was coming, but still it doesn't prepare you for it. It's good being a first team coach and assistant manager, but when you're in the hot seat it's totally different, but one that you embrace and one that you enjoy.
Did you think you'd be a manager? Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah,
you always did. Yeah, from Leicester.
I mean, I worked with some great managers like, you know, Martin Gordon, Howard Kendall when I was young, Dario Gradi at Crewe. You know, very, very lucky to work with some great managers, and you learn so much about the game, the tactical side of the game, the international side of the game. So yeah, I always wanted to go into the coaching side of that afterwards.
Jerry is on Insta saying, Neil Lennon, thank you for all you did for Celtic. So
you're very welcome, Jerry.
Paul on Insta, do you feel underappreciated by the Celtic fans
for the time
as manager?
No, that's unfair. Like, you know, I just deal in the facts. Yep. So my record will stand up with anybody, so I don't need to sort of go down that road. And everywhere I go in the town or the city, people sort of, you know, give me a warm handshake and a pat on the back.